Cue Owen Wilson.
Wow.
He does that a lot in this one. Cars 3. So Cars 3 is the third Cars movie from Disney and Pixar. A lot of people are not huge fans of the Cars movies, but the first one I actually thought was pretty good. I just watched it again recently and I was like, yeah, it's still good. The second one, yeah, not a fan. That one I get people complaining about. I remember walking out of that one being pretty indifferent. I was like, yeah, alright, whatever, moving on to the next thing. But the first one I really liked. So Cars 3 is gonna tip the scale one way or the other. So in Cars 3, Lightning McQueen, voiced by Owen Wilson, is, he's race car. And he's been owning it for some time. Like, he's on his way to achieving legendary status. But the thing is, he's getting a little past his prime. Or at least people are treating him like he's past his prime. He still feels like he's at the top of his game. But when he's racing, all of a sudden these new, next-gen racers start coming in and start beating him. Mainly Jackson Storm, voiced by Armie Hammer. And this guy's a douche. I'm just gonna say it, he's a douchebag. And for me, the movie kind of seemed like it was going to be about their rivalry. The humble team player racer versus the new douchebag. And it's gonna be like a passing of the torch thing because, in the beginning of the first Cars movie, Lightning McQueen was the new douchebag. And he humbled down by the end of the movie, so now he's gonna have to teach this Jackson Storm character how to be humble like the first one, and it's gonna come full circle and all that, but that's really not the case with this one. The movie's more or less actually about Lightning McQueen dealing with, hey, am I actually done racing? Is this it for me? Is it my farewell season? Time to start actually turning myself into a brand and selling merchandise, and that's how I'm gonna keep my name alive. And right now this movie is actually getting some mixed responses. Some people like it, some people not so much, and me being the nice guy, yeah, I actually enjoy this movie quite a bit. It's not perfect, it does have some problems, I'll get to those later, but one of the best things this movie did was it pretty much completely negates Cars 2. This might as well actually be Cars 2. The actual Cars 2 never happened. I'm serious, there's no fancy schmancy spy stuff or any of that espionage shit that was in the second one. Nah, they're back at Radiator Springs hanging out. Sally's in this movie a lot more. There's a lot less Mater. Mater's in this movie, and I like Mater as the side character. A lot of people hate Mater because it's Larry the Cable Guy and they just don't like that kind of humor. I don't mind it so much. I actually think it's kind of funny sometimes. I don't know, that's just me. Mater was pretty much the main character in the second one. Now it's about Lightning and Mater's on the side. And this movie does pay a lot of homage to Cars 1. It focuses on Doc Hudson, who is a character in the first one who was voiced by the late Paul Newman. And there are some scenes with Doc Hudson in this film. The way they do it is they do it in flashbacks and they use old audio recordings from Paul Newman from the first one. I felt that was a very respectful way to do it because Paul Newman was an awesome actor. And there's a character named Cruz Ramirez who's kind of Lightning's new trainer. She wants to train him to catch up with all these next-gen racers. But ultimately there's a storyline about her and what she wants, and I thought, it was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really care for it as much as I probably should have. There was kind of a female empowerment thing that I felt was a little on the nose. I thought she was cool though. I'd hang out with her. Aside from that whole thing though, there were some story-based decisions I felt they made that I was like, no, don't do that, no, especially towards the end. The big final race is all coming to a head and something happens in that race, so I was like, no, don't do that, no, you're killing the movie, stop it! I just really don't feel like that ending should have been like that. But they did do the best thing with this bad ending decision that they could have done. Does that make sense? Okay, you made a bad decision, you're gonna have to kind of, clean up, but they did the best job possible with it. So alright, fine. The animation was really good. Again, it's Pixar Studios. Their animation is always, awesome. I mean, look at Radiator Springs, the mountains and the rock formations. I thought it looked cool in the first one. There weren't as many, car puns like there were in Cars 2. There were just all sorts of car versions of, things all over the world. Too much. Cars 3 toned it down a bit. I mean, yeah, there were some in there and they were fun, but they didn't overdo it. That's good. And the Pixar Easter eggs. I love the inside jokes that Pixar puts in all of their films, like the A113 thing and the Luxo ball and the Pizza Planet truck, I spotted them all in this film because I'm kind of a Pixar fan, or at least a fan of their great movies, which to me is everything except for Cars 2 and Brave. The soundtrack was really good. I really love the soundtrack in the first Cars movie. The songs in that film, I love them. The songs in Cars 3, they were good. I don't know if I'm gonna remember any of them, although I was singing along with a couple of them, so there that is. I just contradicted myself. The score though is funny because right when it came on I was like, that is Randy Newman. Not only because it repeated themes from the first one that I remember, but there are things that I heard in the score I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Toy Story. It's really easy for me to tell. I mean, I'm a film score nerd, but even if you're not a film score nerd, if you love Toy Story, which everyone does, then you recognize some musical cues in Cars 3 that you're gonna be like, that sounds like Toy Story. So big plus to the score for this film. In the end, Cars 3, I had a pretty good time with it. Again, not perfect. I really like the characters. I like the story arc that Lightning McQueen has to go through. I love how it paid homage to Cars 1 and it completely negated Cars 2. The story was pretty good for the most part, although the ending fell through for me. That's just me though. But all in all, I would totally be down for watching this movie again. Although not in 3D. I saw this in 3D it did not help at all. I was like, is that even in 3D? I really couldn't tell. I felt like I needed glasses to watch it in 2D. It was actually pretty bad 3D, which is weird because it's a CG animated film. Usually the 3D in CG films is really good. I don't know, maybe it was the theater. I don't know. But in the end, I would love to watch this movie again. Surprisingly for me, for Cars 3, I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. I was thinking, you know, because Pixar wants to go to their other sequels they have coming, like Toy Story 4 and The Incredibles 2, they just wanted to get Cars 3 out of the way, and that still might be the case, but I enjoyed it. So Cars 3, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what do you think about Cars 1? I ask about Cars 1 and not Cars 2 because I don't know a single person who likes Cars 2. So whatever you think about Cars 1 and 3, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.